الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters, my dear children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last week I stopped at the first manner or etiquette regarding the fast. آداب الصيام. آداب الصيام, manners or etiquettes of the fast. It is highly recommended to follow them. And the first one I mentioned last Friday was a sahur, the pre-dawn meal. Having a pre-dawn meal is highly recommended by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there is no, there is no sin upon the person who does not wake up before dawn to have something to eat or drink. But it is highly recommended, as stated by the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith in Al-Bukhari and Muslim. He said, تَسَحَّرُوا فَإِنَّ فِي السَّحُورِ بَرَكَةً. Take your pre-dawn meal because there is a blessing in it. It helps you to fast the following day, and also it encourages you to wake up to pray Fajr. I mean, this is also something very interesting, that when you wake up for your sahur and you have your pre-dawn meal, you will automatically pray Fajr as well. In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, عليكم بهذا السحور. Stick to that pre-dawn meal, فإنه هو الغذاء المبارك. It is a blessed meal. رواه النسائي بسند جيد. There is another hadith actually in Ahmad, and the Prophet ﷺ clearly stated that السحور بركة فلا تدعوه ولو أن يجرع أحدكم جرعة ماء. Pre-dawn meal is a blessing, even if you just have a sip of water. Can you imagine? Just a sip of water. It helps. And you may have noticed during the long days of the summer, we need to drink a lot because we have 18 or 19 hours fast without any fluid. We get dehydrated very easily. And you need to drink a lot. And the time between the Maghrib, the sunset, and the Fajr is very short, so you haven't got enough space for your food or for your water. So try, please, to take a lot of fluids, especially water, because we need it to hydrate all the organs and all the joints in our body. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that yes, a sahur can be as just a simple sip of water. You have had your sahur. And in the same hadith, he said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى الْمُتَسَحِّرِينَ. Allah and His angels, they send their blessings on the person who is having his sahur. Could you please move forward, everybody, please? Today we are going to have 3 prayers, so please move forward, please. Move forward, everybody,
empty
please.
Spaces, because I saw the plenty spaces empty.
Please. People are already queuing outside. Please. Another etiquette regarding the fast is to be quick in breaking the fast. تعجيل الفطر. Hastening in breaking the fast, or be quick in breaking the fast. We know that we have been commanded to complete the fast and وَأَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. The word al-layl, we take it from the tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to mean sunset, to mean the Maghrib time. There are other Muslims who believe that they would rather prefer to wait until it is a little bit darker to break the fast. No blame on them and no blame on us. We are both right. So the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطر. People will remain to be with the good as long as they hasten or they be quick in breaking the fast. رواه البخاري ومسلم. So it's not, you see, sunset, finished, break your meal, water, dates, get up, pray Maghrib, come back to eat the meal. Unless the meal is already ready, we have another hadith which tells us what to do. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم would actually break his fast on ripe dates before he prays. If there are no ripe dates, he will eat dried dates. If no dates is available, then he will just drink or take few sips of water, and then he will get up to pray. Dates being the diet of the people of Medina at that time, it doesn't mean if I break my fast on a nice hot cup of coffee or cup of tea or a Kit Kat or a Bounty, it doesn't matter. But again, dates have a lot of advantages actually regarding the fiber, the protein, the sugar, so they are regarded as a meal as well when you think about it. In a hadith in Muslim and Bukhari, and we need, every year I repeat this hadith and I try to make it very clear. If you, let's say you have been invited to have iftar, and when you got there, the food was already on the table. The people who invited you, they prepared the meal already, everything was on the table. You cannot impose your own way on the host. Let's say at my house, I like actually to break my fast on dates and a nice cup of tea, and then I got up and I say my Maghrib prayer, and then I come back to finish my main meal. So the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, if the food is already presented, eat before the sunset prayer and do not eat your meals in haste. This hadith is in Muslim and Bukhari. So there is no blame on you. Yes, sit down, enjoy your meal, take your time, finish it, and after that you get up and pray. No problem. And again, it shows you this is an etiquette. I can't come to your house to break my fast and I'm going to impose on you my own way of doing it. No manners in that. No manners. Supplication while breaking the fast and while fasting. Again, we understand from the tradition that the Prophet ﷺ told us that the person who is fasting, at the moment he breaks his fast, the invocation, the supplication, the prayer, the dua he is going to say, inshallah it will be accepted, as long as it's not an evil invocation. إن للصائم عند فطره دعوة ما ترد. Allah will never return it or send it back. It will be accepted, inshallah. And we've been taught also certain words to say at the moment we are breaking the fast. Alhamdulillah الذي أعناني فصمت ورزقني فأفطر. Praise be to Allah, thanks be to Allah who helped me to fast, and He provided sustenance for me to break my fast. Prophet ﷺ used to say, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. The thirst has gone. The glands are wet. The reward is confirmed, inshallah. So beautiful, so beautiful. The Prophet ﷺ said there are three people whom their supplication will not be rejected. A fasting person until he breaks his fast. So during the day, your invocation is also accepted until the moment you break the fast. This is like a bonus from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I remember a friend of mine said to me, whenever I have a problem, I will fast and I invoke Allah while I'm fasting and at the moment of breaking the fast. Because you may recall, the Prophet advised the man who came to him and he said to him, tell me or advise me to do a deed which will guarantee I go to Jannah. And he said to him, stick to fasting. عليك بالصوم فإنه لا عد له. It has no equivalent. Stick to fasting. So if you have a problem in your life, whatever problem, fast. Fast. And while you are fasting, invoke Allah, supplicate Allah. And at the moment you break the fast, supplicate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He will accept, inshallah. So the three people whom supplication will not be rejected: a fasting person until he breaks his fast, a just ruler, and an oppressed person. These three people, Allah will accept their invocation, inshallah. Also, while we are fasting, we have certain manners to follow. We are not only fasting from drink or food or fulfillment of any sexual desires, we are all our faculties are going to behave themselves. Put it this way: you are going to lower your gaze, you are not going to utter anything which is obscene, you are not going to listen to something which is not benefiting or not good, you are not spying on someone, you are not backbiting. So it is not a matter of just food and drink and sex. The Prophet ﷺ said, fasting is not just from food and drink, but it is from vain speech, foul language. And if someone insults you or curses you or annoys you or reviles you or belittle you, as we mentioned before, say, I am fasting twice, to remind yourself. So there is no point or there is no need that you lose your fast because you are going to respond to such an ignorant person. Another hadith: the person who will not leave false speech and telling lies and acting upon it, Allah is not in need for him to leave or give up his food and his drink. So it's a package deal. It's not just a matter of physical denial of my desires. It is the conduct, the way we behave ourselves, the way we conduct ourselves. We are going through a 30-day camp, maybe 29 days, while or during which we are training ourselves. We are in control of all our vices, our desires. And during this month, because of the blessings in this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala double and maybe triple and maybe 7,000 times reward would be given to you. So let us make an effort, please. We still have 2 more weeks to go. Let us make an effort that our fast is not just from food and drink. Our fast actually is the conduct, the way you are going to conduct yourself, the way you deal with your wife, with your children, with your neighbors, with colleagues at work, on the road, and so on. Please, let us make an effort to prove that we, alhamdulillah, spiritually are going to be so strong, so strong. And as I mentioned last week, in this country, while we are fasting, we are working. If you live in a country like Egypt or Saudi or Pakistan or Bangladesh, they change the working hours. They don't work like us here from 7 o'clock in the morning to 6 or 7. So you are fasting and you are working and you are excelling at your workplace, but you are controlling your temper, you are lowering your gaze, you are not engaged in any foul or vile discussion or something which can really affect your spirituality. Another hadith: perhaps a fasting person will get nothing from his fast save hunger, and perhaps the one who stands to pray at night will get nothing from the standing except sleepiness. Yes, let's be practical, please. During the month of Ramadan, during the fast, while we are whether the fast is for Ramadan or any other reason, these are etiquettes which should be followed. People always ask the question about oral hygiene. Can I brush my teeth? Can I use toothpaste? Yes, you can. You are not swallowing it. Yes, you can. There's no problem in that. And you are using the toothbrush, no problem. When we come now to the month of Ramadan, being generous and studying the Quran during this month is very important. We all know that the fast of Ramadan being ordained on us because the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan. And this is very important. Let us try to study that. It's not enough that you stand behind an imam who is reciting the Quran in Arabic and you know. It's not enough. You must make an effort to sit at home at the weekend, in the evening, whenever you can, with your family, open the Quran and start to read the translation, understand what you are reading, try to apply it, especially when it comes to God's moral law. When we talk about God's moral law from the Quran, it is so beautiful to sit with your children and your family and start to read from verse so and so to verse so and so, where we are going to talk about how you conduct yourself, how to treat the property of the orphans, how to walk, how to talk, how to treat your parents, and so on. We need to study the Quran. And then we need to implement what we studied, what we read in our daily activities. There is no point in reading the highway code and passing your driving test, and then when you are on the road, you are a killer. We can't. It doesn't work like that. The Prophet ﷺ, he was so generous. All his life, so generous. And he was more generous in the months of Ramadan when Jibreel ﷺ would meet with him and they study the Quran together. Can you imagine every year in Ramadan, Jibreel used to come to the Prophet ﷺ and they sit together to study the Quran. Can you imagine? The Prophet was studying the Quran with Jibreel. What about us? Please, please, it is not enough to tell me that your son finished reading the Quran, but he doesn't understand a word of what he read. What is the point? Please. And I always say 1 page a day. I'm not asking you for more than that. 1 page of the Quran, 1 page. You read it in your language, you understand the wisdom of Allah. Enough. 1 page, just 1 page. Stick to 1 page every day. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was so generous during Ramadan, and he would be more generous than a wind which is bringing good news. So people in the desert, they are always looking forward for a wind which will come and bring rain. Prophet ﷺ, in his pace for racing to do good in the month of Ramadan, he was exactly like this wind which is bringing clouds to water a dead earth. وكان صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود بالخير من الريح المرسلة. The goodness which comes out of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was better than a wind which is bringing glad tidings or good news. So let's make effort, please, to work out our annual zakah, please. If you haven't done it, if you haven't paid your zakah for the last 5 years or 10 years, please. When the angel of death will come to any of us, this person will say to the angel of death, he will be asking Allah to give him respite. فَأَصَّدَّقَ وَأَكُمِ الصَّالِحِ. Give me respite so I will give for charity. I will be a charitable person. I'll give to the poor and the needy. And Allah will say, forget it. I don't give respite once death has come. No, go back. Finished. So please, I ask you to work out properly your zakah. You know you have an exempt amount which is known as an-nisab. It is based on the value of gold. And roughly it is about 2,500 pounds are exempt from the zakah, which is 2.5%. Please sit down and work out your zakah on the savings you have after 1 year. So from last Ramadan to this Ramadan, you are going to sit down, work out your zakah exactly In the same way you work out your tax return, and you know very well Inland Revenue can come and inspect your files. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of your wealth, of what you have. Even if you have £100, but you see, we talk about nisab, so it's exempt. But if you have more than the nisab, you have to pay the 2.5%. And I also mentioned, if you have a property which is generating an income, you pay 5% on the net income. After you have paid your tax, after you have paid all the repairs, renewal, you pay 5%, not 2.5%, 5%, because it is regarded as someone who has a farm and he's paying on his crop either 5% or 10%, depending upon the method of irrigation. Mechanical irrigation, he pays 5%. Natural irrigation, he pays 10%. During the month of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ would strive to perform as many acts of worship as possible during the last 10 nights. What's happening in the last 10 nights? What do we get? What are we expecting in the last 10 nights? Laylatul Qadr, night of glory, power and honor. Layla Mubarakah, when the revelation of the Quran started. So we are all going to look forward for it. So we stay up. If you can stay up, please, from sunset until Fajr, stay up. It's very short when you think about it. If Fajr is now at 5 to 3 or 10 to 3, especially at the weekend when you don't have to go to work. I know of some people who take the last week of Ramadan off from work. This is their annual holiday, and I love it. This is their annual holiday. They dedicate a week from their annual holiday for the last 10 nights of Ramadan, where they will be in continuous contact with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the night. What are we expecting to have during that night? Who's coming down? Jibreel and angels. Yes? They come with so many orders and commands from Allah. So do not waste it, please. Do not waste it. It's like, can you imagine when you've been told there is a guest coming from heaven? Can you imagine? Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam is coming down with so many angels, and Allah says, Salamun hiya hatta matla al-fajr. It's a very peaceful night until the dawn. So from sunset, which is now what, 10 past 9 until just 3 o'clock in the morning, this time, we don't know which night, we don't know. So please, make an effort to prepare yourself physically and mentally to do some good during that night. You are not going to sit down and watch TV. You are not going to do that. You are not going to watch anything on your mobile. Nothing. You are going either to sit down to read Quran, or you are in prayers, up and down, up and down, up and down, or you are doing tasbih, dhikr. That's what you will be doing in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Please, switch your mobile off, switch your TV off. We are not going to watch any WhatsApps or any Facebook, nothing. During that time, nothing. Please. Sit down and read Quran, try to understand what you are reading. Do dhikr. Pray up and down with short surahs. قل هو الله أحد. قل يا أيها الكافرون. Very short. You don't have to read the very long surah. Do so many rak'ah, up and down, up and down. Please. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would wake up his wives, would stay up all night to be engaged in prayers, because you are expecting a great guest is coming down, and he is being accompanied by so many angels. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that this night is better than how many? 1,000 months. About what, 80 years, 83 years? You can imagine how beautiful Laylatul Qadr, Layla Mubarakah. Please. Right. Now, we understood the etiquette or the manners of the fast. Now I'm going to talk about acts that are permissible during the fast. Am I allowed to pour water on my head or submerge in water and go for a swim? Can I do all this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Fine. If water goes into your mouth by mistake, does it nullify your fast? No. Good. Okay. Very good. Everything is based on what? An-niyyah. Yes. Your intention. Exactly. Exactly. Can I put kohl in my eyes and eye drops?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Okay. Can I kiss my wife?
Yes.
As long as there's no, yes, as long as there's no arousal.
No, good. Okay. How old are you now? 82? Yeah. Right. This is very interesting. I mean, we should never feel embarrassed to address this issue. Please, don't feel embarrassed at all. Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam would kiss and embrace while he was fasting. وَكَانَ أَمْلَكَكُمْ لِإِرْبِهِ. He had the most control of all of you over his desires. When I was newly married, I came to this country on the 3rd of July 1970. I was 24 years old, newly married, came to London. Ramadan was in the summer, and I'm sleeping next to my wife in bed, and you have to resist the temptation, everything. Yes, but today I'm 72, it's not the same. 24 and 72, it's not the same. So please, young men, this is a very serious matter. Young men, be aware of that, please. Be aware of that. You have to be able to control yourself. Yes, you can touch your wife, you can hug, you can kiss, but be aware, please. And we'll explain in a minute why. So, it does not nullify the fast. It is disliked according to some of the Hanafi and Shafi'i madhab if it incites one's desire. Yeah, they find it, they don't like it, but it is permissible. It is not haram. There is a big difference between I dislike something and something is haram. Haram is unlawful, forbidden. I dislike, yeah, you can say I don't like it. Okay. Again, in books of fiqh, it says there is no difference between an old man and a young man. And what matters actually is mainly the influence or the effect of it on inciting the desire. What about injection, any type of injection? Can I have injection? Yes, I can. Okay. Some people also raised this question. They said, what about cupping to drain blood? You know, al-hijama. Yeah, but if you are fasting, there is no point because it would make you feel very weak. You are losing blood. So there is no point. You can defer it. But again, it does not cause you to lose the fast. Right. Can I rinse?
Yes.
Gargle? Yes. Blow my nose? But the recommendation of the Prophet said, don't exaggerate when rinsing your nose, because you know it's very easy for the water to go back. Okay? Be sensible. Be sensible. That's all. Swallow my saliva. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Brother Sulaiman Ali, you remember when you told me? Yes, he told me that in some schools they have a bucket there for the children to go and spit their saliva. Yes? No, you can swallow it, no problem. Can I smell perfume? Can I put, this morning I put a very nice musk on. Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay. Again, a question which has been raised by a number of people. Let's say at night I had intimate relation with my wife, but I woke up before sunrise, after Fajr, before sunrise. So I'm fasting, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Am I allowed to start the fast while I am, the English word is sexually defiled? Am I allowed to do that?
You can
Yes, I am allowed to, because the Prophet ﷺ did that.
Yes.
Okay? So I am allowed to do that. No problem with that. When you get up, have your ghusl, and then pray your Fajr before the sunrise. Okay, good. If a woman had her period stopped at night, can she defer the wash until the morning before the sunrise? She can, correct. That's absolutely right. Okay. She can delay until the morning, but must perform ghusl before the morning prayer. Okay? She will pray. Before sunrise, she's going to pray, and she will have the wash and then pray. Okay. What would nullify or void my fast? Actions to void the fast. We have two types. One which will void the fast or nullify the fast, but you have to make up the days. The other one, you have to make up the days and pay a ransom. And let me explain the difference between both of them. If I eat or drink deliberately, I can't. The day is too, I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm struggling, I can't continue the day. Okay, I'm going to break my fast. I will have a glass of water. Fine. Okay. In this case, you have to make up the day. There is no ransom. You have to make up the day. Okay. Suppose I drank or ate. I forgot that I am fasting. You know, very often, especially in the first few days, you open the fridge, you get, and oh my goodness, I'm fasting. Would you lose your fast?
No.
No, exactly. According to the authentic hadith, it is Allah who gave you the drink or gave you the food. Okay. Vomiting. Would I lose my fast?
Intentionally, yes. If you don't-
Exactly. If I induced the vomit, then I lose the day. Okay? But if I was overcome by the vomit, I don't lose the day. This is very important, please. Okay. Sorry?
Blood test.
Blood test, you can have a blood test. You see, we are talking about something going through the mouth. Blood test, you can have a blood test, no problem.
Injection.
We said already injections allowed. Yes, we said that. Yeah. Right. What also would negate the fast? If a woman will have her period just before the sunset, 9 o'clock, at 8:30, she had her period. Sorry, the day been lost. Halas. We have to be practical. Now, this thing here has something to do with all the men. It's called in Arabic al-istimna', a deliberate act which leads to ejaculation of sperm. Deliberate. So if I have a wet dream, it is not deliberate. I can carry on the fast. So if I go to bed and I'm sleeping during the afternoon and I had a wet dream, I continue my fast. There is no problem. But any deliberate act, whether it is because you hugged your wife or touched your wife or whatever, then unfortunately you have lost the day. We need to understand that. As long as there is no ejaculation of sperm, you haven't lost the day. Seminal fluid and prostatic fluid are allowed. They do not nullify your fast. If you are overcome, I mean you didn't touch, and it was because of you have looked at something or thought of something, it does not nullify the fast. We should never feel embarrassed to talk about these things, because we talk about young men, very young men at the age of 15 and 16 who are fasting. And you need to understand that. When my son was about this age, and one day in Ramadan he was not, I said, Muhammad, why you are not fasting? He said, Papa, growing up problem. He was very embarrassed to tell me that he had a wet dream. Growing up problem. So unfortunately it was my mistake, because I did not talk to him about, I was embarrassed to talk to him about it. I shouldn't have felt embarrassed. Okay? So we need to sit with our children and educate them in a very, I would say,
Islamic way.
Yeah, exactly, in a very Islamic way, in the sense that don't be vulgar, don't be rude, try to have a sense of reserve, sit with the boys and explain things to them nicely, as my father did when I reached the age of 15, many, many years ago. Now, suppose I am fasting, but I changed my niyyah, I changed my intention, and I said, I'm going to break I can't, I'm sorry, I'm not going to finish the day, I'm going to break the fast. And I could not find anything to break my fast with. No water, no food. Have I lost the day?
Yes,
Yes,
change
subhanallah.
is
Just by changing the niyyah, you lost the day. Exactly. تغيير النية. Okay. Right. The last one now, in the last 3 minutes, and this is one of the most beautiful stories. I love it so much. A young man, this hadith actually is reported by all the groups, so it's very authentic hadith. A young man went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said to him, "Halaktu ya Rasul Allah." Subhanallah. I am destroyed, O Prophet of Allah. So Prophet said, "Wama ahlakak." What has destroyed you? He said, I slept with my wife in the day of Ramadan. Prophet ﷺ said, have you got the means to free a slave? He said, no. Prophet said, can you fast 2 months continuously? He said, no. Can you afford to feed 60 poor people? He said, no. And there's a problem here, because this is the only case when you have to make up the days and pay ransom. The previous ones only make up the day. You missed a day, okay, only 1 day. But here, this is the only case. So now the Prophet ﷺ did not make fun of the boy. He did not belittle him. He did not insult him. He did not say to him, oh, you couldn't control yourself. Or when he said, I have no money to pay, to feed, oh, and you have no money. He did not make fun of him. He did not insult him. He was rahmah, alayhi salatu wasalam, mercy. The source of mercy, alayhi salatu wasalam. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Oh Muhammad, if you would have had a harsh heart and your character was so awful, people would have left you, ran away from you. He accommodated everyone. So he doesn't know what to do. Prophet ﷺ doesn't know what to do. The man can neither fast 60 days, he cannot feed 60 poor people, and he cannot free a slave. What we are going to do now? He said, sit down. Sit down, khalas, sit down. So someone walked in and he brought a basket of dates. Basket, huge one, full of dates. And gave it to the Prophet. So the Prophet said to the man, تصدق بهذا. Take this and give it to the poor people in Medina. And the man said, there are no poor people in Medina than us. So Prophet ﷺ said, take it. فضحك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He ضحك means he not just smile. Smile means تبسم. He ضحك exactly as you did now. حتى بدت نواجذه. The Prophet laughed until his molar teeth could be seen. He was so happy. Okay, take it. اذهب فأطعمه أهلك. Take it and feed your family. عليه الصلاة والسلام. رواه الجماعة. So how beautiful, how beautiful. Our religion is a religion of ease and kindness and love and affection and mercy. And we are very harsh. We are very harsh, unfortunately. So I'm going to stop here, inshallah, and next week we'll continue.